In this video, I'm going to show you how to configure and deploy your first cloud database. And to put this in a real-world context, I've installed WordPress on a cloud server, but I haven't installed a database. So when I go to the IP of that cloud server where I should normally see the WordPress configuration page, I am getting an error that my server is not able to establish a connection with the database. And the way I'm going to resolve this and finish my WordPress install is I'm going to go into my control panel and I'm going to configure and deploy a cloud database. So I'm going to start by clicking on Database, and then I'm going to click on Create MySQL Instance. And there's two things I need to do here. First of all, I need to create the container that my databases are going to live in, and I'm going to call that instance MySQL Instance 01. And I'm going to leave RAM at the default 512 megabytes, and the disk size I'm going to leave at 1 gigabyte as well. As far as region goes, since my cloud server is also in DFW, it makes perfect sense for me to also create my instance in DFW. I also need to give some information so a new database will be created as well. I need to give it a name, a user, and a password. For the name, I'm going to go ahead and call it WordPress. I will also call the user WordPress, and I will give it a very simple password for demonstration purposes. Once I've done that, I can go ahead and click on Create Instance. And that's going to go ahead and get my cloud database building. While it does that, I'm going to go ahead and finish the configuration of my WordPress server. And I'm going to do that in part by copying this host name here. So going back to my server, I now need to open up and configure some of the information in the wp-config.php file. And I'm going to use Vim to open that up. And if you're familiar at all with the installation process for WordPress, you know that within this file, I need to put some values that correlate to the database that this WordPress installation is going to be using. So here under database name, I'm going to put WordPress because that's the name I gave my database. For username, I'm also going to call this WordPress. And for password, I just used password, so I'll leave that there. Now, localhost is what we would normally leave if MySQL were running on this server, but since it's running on a separate container, I need to go ahead and put the host name for that container, which I've copied from my dashboard. And I'm going to go ahead and just paste that in there. Once I have all of those values in my configuration file, I'm going to save and close it. Before I can test to make sure that the WordPress is going to finish installing, I need to wait just a moment longer to let my cloud database finish building. Okay, so now my cloud instance is finished building and the status indicates that it's running. When I go back to my WordPress install and I refresh this page, I should now see the WordPress configuration page, which I see right here. So that is the basics of configuring and deploying Cloud Database and how you would connect it to a cloud server in order to finish a WordPress install.